This is the absolute bottom of the barrel when it comes to news and things that we can talk about that are noteworthy enough to make videos on. And I acknowledge that this doesn't really mean anything in the grand scheme of things, but this was a signing that I thought was interesting enough, in my opinion at least, to go out there and explore, because it involves two teams in which I'm very familiar with. Firstly, it's the Vancouver Canucks, and secondly, it is the Detroit Red Wings by proxy. This doesn't really have anything to do with the Wings, but it does have everything to do with their farm team, the Grand Rapids Griffins. And the reason we're making a video about the Griffins today is because yesterday, on November 26, we had ourselves the news that NHL veteran Alex Chiasson has signed a PTO with the team. The article was published on the Griffins website, and this is what it says. The Griffins announced on Saturday that they have signed forward Alex Chiasson to a PTO. Chiasson, 32 years old, has spent the past 9 seasons in the NHL with stints at the Dallas Stars, Ottawa Senators, Calgary Flames, Washington Capitals, Edmonton Oilers, and the Vancouver Canucks. Chiasson lifted the Stanley Cup with the Caps in 2018 when he bagged 2 points in 16 playoff appearances. Through 631 NHL games, the Montreal, Quebec native has 224 points and 353 penalty minutes. Chiasson has also spent time in the AHL with the Texas Stars, totaling 14 goals, 26 assists, and 52 penalty minutes in 66 contests. Prior to turning pro, the 6'4" forward competed at Boston University and posted 99 points in 108 games. Then it talks about single-game tickets being available on the Griffins hockey website, and that's not really relevant to the Chiasson discussion over here. But the reason we're making a video about Alex freaking Chiasson out of everybody is because when it comes to all of these older Canucks that kind of had meme-like stati amongst the fan bases, we're always making videos about them wherever they go. It started off with Eriksson last season talking about his Arizona tenure, and then the SHL thing with Frölunda. I felt like that was very funny and heartwarming to make a video about. So, when it comes to this name right here, Alex Chiasson, you want to get my opinions on Chiasson as a Vancouver Canucks fan that watched this guy suit up with this team the past 67 games? He honestly was a really intriguing player. Mostly because there was that recent tenure of success that he had had as a consistent 20 to 30-ish point caliber guy who was good enough to play on a Stanley Cup winning team. Now, he wasn't an amazing player for the Washington Capitals in 2017-18, but he was a part of the squad and he did play a solidified bottom 6 role. The next season, Chiasson went over to Edmonton where he played with Connor McDavid, and that's where he posted up a career high of 22 goals and 38 points on the year. When he signed with Edmonton to play with them initially, he signed a 1-year, $650,000 deal. And after he got 20 goals, he was able to get the bag, getting 2.1 AAV for the next 2 years afterwards. Now, unfortunately for Chiasson, he wasn't really as good with the Oilers the following years, getting 24 points and 16 points respectively in 2020 and 2021. Afterwards, he became a free agent and he signed with the Vancouver Canucks at a league minimum dollar amount, and this is kind of where things fall into the story we know today. Chiasson for Vancouver was oddly enough one of the more important players on the team. This was because he was one of the only right-handed guys the team had, other than Connor Garland and Brock Besser on their forward core. Sure, 3 right-handed guys is enough to fill out all your right wing spots, but everybody else on center and left wing, they were all left-handed, so Chiasson automatically got himself a buy-in to top-line power play minutes and an actually important role on a Vancouver Canucks team that really wasn't all too great. Chiasson was noted as somewhat of a meme amongst the Canucks fan base because when it came to a guy that was just old and slow, Chiasson was kind of that. Now, I know he was 31 years old last season, which isn't too old, but the foot speed, there was really something to desire there, and with all the opportunities he was being given because of his big right-handed status, he's 6'4", by the way, there was kind of a difference of opinion when you ask Canucks fans on social media, hey, what are your thoughts on Chiasson being on the first power play, for example? What are your thoughts on Chiasson being a mainstay guy when it comes to trying to contribute offense? Sure, he scored some goals, 13 goals in 67 games played, 9 assists on the year too for 22 total points, but when you watched Chiasson on the ice, you kind of knew that this wasn't really a guy that moved the needle all too much. He just happened to be at the right place in the right time, he happened to be big so he could bury in rebounds, and he was pretty much put in a position to succeed because of the rest of the team's status. But still, at the end of the day, even though he wasn't the fastest guy out there, he still produced somewhat. And a lot of people were kind of saying, okay, well, this team doesn't have too much right-handed depth anyway, so if they wanted to re-sign Chiasson for a 1-year, super cheap deal, maybe that would be somewhat of an appropriate move, but at the same time, there are other players that the Canucks could sign instead that would probably be more impactful, like Curtis Lazar, for example, is a very nice player in the bottom six, Niels Oman, Dakota Joshua. I know not all these guys are right-handed, but like, just comparing the quality of play you get from the other bottom six players on the Canucks today to what Alex Chiasson brought, it's night and day. Chiasson eventually signed a PTO with the Coyotes in September of this season, and unfortunately was not re-signed, so he ended up becoming a regular free agent once again, which is now why he's going over to Grand Rapids in a PTO situation over there. If you want my honest opinion as to how Chiasson is going to perform in the AHL, I mean, just give him the opportunity to show off his net front presence and his puck battling skills, and you'll probably get some value out of this guy. He hasn't played in the AHL in 9 years pretty much, and last time he was there, he was pretty productive. This is a player with boatloads of NHL experience, playing with some of the best players in the world, winning Stanley Cups, and actually being a useful depth piece who, for some reason, is very capable of playing the net front on the power play. So when it comes to that veteran leadership, you're going to be getting that here, Grand Rapids fans. This move serves probably as some protection for younger guys heading into future games, but for those out there wondering what exactly is the status for Chiasson to eventually become a Red Wing, that unfortunately is not really looking like anything that's going to happen here. Because to my understanding, a PTO offered from the AHL team exclusively does not really have any link to the NHL club at all. In order for Chiasson to become a Red Wing, the Red Wings themselves would have to sign Chiasson to whatever contract they see fit to allow him to suit up for the winged wheel. Right now, he is only a PTO acquisition on Grand Rapids, meaning that the Grand Rapids Griffins are the only team that allows him to play in their games. This is not a one-way, two-way scenario. This is completely separate from that. This is an AHL PTO that in which they have given out to Chiasson. I'd be really surprised if they released him shortly after, right? I mean, we rarely see PTOs amongst the minor teams that have somewhat of a noteworthy name in front of them that end up not working out. I think the most recent one that I can think of is Sean Avery. Yeah, remember when he signed a PTO with the Orlando Solar Bears, like, within the past 2 years? Or no, it was this year, back in February, when the Solar Bears signed Avery and then they let him go because he wasn't great. And so for Alex Chiasson, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he went out there and actually became a pretty capable Grand Rapids Griffin player. If Louis Eriksson could go back to Sweden and do well, then Alex Chiasson, I feel, can do so too. He already got the bag anyway, right? He's kind of just playing because he wants to play. He had a 2-point-something AAV deal for 2 years after scoring 20 goals in a season with Connor McDavid as a center. So Chiasson probably is just kind of living the life right now, just going from team to team, seeing what team is able to take him on. And I feel like for now, Grand Rapids, you're going to have a pretty interesting experiment at your disposal right here. So, if you're a Red Wings fan, talk in the comments your thoughts about Alex Chiasson. If you're a Canucks fan as well, let me know your thoughts and opinions about him going over from Vancouver to Arizona, not officially at least, and then over to Grand Rapids. If you're an Oilers fan, what are your thoughts about this guy and how he played with Connor McDavid all those years ago? If you're a Capitals fan, any thoughts on Chiasson and his bottom six capabilities in your Stanley Cup victory in 2018? I know there are some names on that squad that really became fan favorites. Jay Beagle is one that comes to my mind right away. But either way, thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. I know it's on a really dumb topic, but I wanted to talk about this. I hope you can forgive me for that. But such as Trolls 99, and bye.